The time is now. The Jaxson Dart era is officially on the clock. Brian Daboll just spoke to the media. I'm Brandon London alongside NFL reporter for the New York Post, Ryan Dunleavy. Dunleavy, you've got an article out on what the game plan should be like when it comes to Jaxson Dart's first official start as an NFL quarterback. But first, let's just break down what Brian Daboll said. He came out, he spent about 4 minutes talking about the Chargers, and then the questions started. So I guess from the beat writer standpoint of it, what did you make of what Brian Daboll said about his decision to move on from Russell Wilson?
You just said it, Brandon. He said, my decision, about 30 times in the course of that. You know what you didn't hear? The favorite word of Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen, collaboration. You did not hear that word. It was not collaborative. This was Brian Daboll's decision. I got the sense that that nobody stood in his way, because that's the Giants' way. The coaches determine who plays. But maybe that not everybody saw it eye to eye, that this is the right time to do it. Brian Daboll's a coach on the hot seat. He knows that. And if he's going to go down, he's going to go down with his hand-picked quarterback. He wants his guy in there maybe a little bit earlier than everybody else in the building thinks that Jaxson Dart is ready.
Yeah, and when you look at the All-22, like everybody on Twitter, like everyone's a NFL GM or a Twitter GM, Twitter head coach. You look at the All-22, and I think that the time is now for Jaxson Dart to come in and officially get these reps. And I'm not expecting him to come in and save the season. I'm trying to manage my expectations here. But when you watch a game like the Commanders game and the Chiefs game, and you're watching Steve Spagnuolo and these defensive coordinators rush 4, drop 7, take away any of the big plays over the top, and double team Malik Neighbors, you want a quarterback that can come in there and be a little bit more mobile than what Russell Wilson put on tape, to be able to extend the play, to hit guys like he did with Gunnar Olszewski in the Patriots game. I know that was preseason, but to also get out of there, get out of the pocket as well, and just get something when it comes to the scrambling and staying ahead of the sticks. What was it for you when you watched the last 3 games that said, okay, now it's time for the rookie to get in there?
Well, let's make it clear, Brandon. It's 2 games because Russell Wilson had a great game against the Cowboys.
But do you count that Cowboys game?
You got to count the Cowboys game. Why am I not going to count the Cowboys game, but I'm going to count the Chiefs game? I think, to be fair to Russell Wilson, you got to count the 450-yard game. Like, he threw deep balls galore. I don't know that Jaxson Dart can do that when they play the Cowboys. I don't know. But the other 2 games were abysmal. The red zone was abysmal. Russell Wilson is 4 of 18 in the red zone. They look like they have no clue what to do in the red zone. I was serious the other day when I tweeted they might as well just run the Wildcat and just sign Ronnie Brown and run their Wildcat. The red zone. That's how pathetic the red zone offense has been. Look, here's what I talked to a coach. You mentioned the article. I talked to a coach, I talked to a personnel guy, and I talked to Dan Orlovsky at ESPN. And I said, what should this offense look like? And basically, it was totally different. It was get him on the move, change the launch point. It was get Malik Neighbors going horizontal instead of just running straight line vertical deep balls. The moon ball is great, but you need more wide receiver screens. You need more crossing routes. Russell Wilson throws the ball over the middle of the field as little as anybody in the NFL over the last 3 years. So you just can't take away the whole middle of the field and play the entire game on the hash marks and the numbers. Like, it's just not going to work. So the offense should be much different. It should be much more exciting. There should be RPOs. We've seen him do those in his 6 plays that he's played so far. So it should be a totally different looking offense. There's going to be mistakes. Russell Wilson doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He takes checkdowns and stuff. There's going to be mistakes, but it's going to be exciting.
Well, there's a lot of people that will push back on you that Russell Wilson doesn't make mistakes. You look at 3 interceptions in the last 2 games, 1 in the red zone.
Forcing it to Malik Neighbors, which is what Daniel Jones did last year, which is the Giants' way. Just get the ball to Malik Neighbors 100 times so that he's happy.
So we won't call it like a true mistake. He was forcing the football down the field. I know what you mean. I know what you mean. It's 2 things for me, though, Ryan, that when you look at the All-22 and you look at it like, okay, the decision needed to be made, they're still running empty formation. So no one can say like, oh, the offensive line is not giving Russell Wilson time to throw the football. You don't run empty formation if you don't believe in the offensive line and think that they are giving the quarterback enough time to do things. And then go back to some of these red zone calls, the draw with Russell Wilson, and then there was a read option that Russell Wilson ran as well. And you're looking at it, if they had a little bit more athleticism and mobility at the quarterback position, maybe those plays would have had a little bit more of a chance to be successful. And this is no knock to Russell Wilson, but there are a lot of people right now in terms of fan base and inside of the building that are frustrated because they feel as though to the high that we were riding throughout the spring, the summer, preseason, everybody was dancing, and now all of a sudden after another 0-3 start, it feels like the energy has just been sucked out of MetLife Stadium, just out of this team as well. So some sort of change needed to happen. So now that going forward, let's look forward now. The decision has been made. Brian Daboll was very explicit when he said the rest of the season. What do you make of that?
I think he was putting to bed any kind of, if he struggles, controversy. No, this is my guy. As long as I'm here, he's going to be my guy. I thought it was interesting that he said Russell Wilson will be the backup for the rest of the season, because that almost took out the idea that Russell would ask for a trade or that Russell will ask for his release. I think both of those things were possibilities. We'll ask Russell about it today. But no, the Giants are obviously, Brian Daboll is all in on Jaxson Dart for as long as he's here. He's counting on, there's an element of job saving to this decision. And don't forget, Brandon, let's ease back. As I tried to tell anybody who would listen, all the preseason vibes were great, but I've never seen so much positivity around a team that was 3-14. The idea that the Giants were going to go from 3-14 to a playoff team, they were skipping a lot of steps. There was deserved excitement. 0-2 hit this building like a sledgehammer inside. 0-3 is probably whatever's worse than a cartoon sledgehammer. So, yes, the deflatingness is real. But if they were 0-3 with Russell Wilson, it'd be dead. If they were 0-3 with Daniel Jones, the season would be – the Daniel Jones that played here, the season would be dead. 0-3 with Jaxson Dart, there's a mystery that will excite the fans. There won't be planes flying overhead. There won't be chants and boos for Jaxson Dart. The owner can breathe a sigh of relief in his box. The fans are interested. It will be interesting to see how the teammates who are desperate to win react, because they are the ones who know who gives them the best chance to win before anybody else.
You said 0-3 would hit like a cartoon sledgehammer. 0-4 would hit like one of those cartoon anvils from Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote. I got you there. We're old enough to remember. Real ones know Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner. I guess when I'm thinking about Russell Wilson and now being demoted to QB2, I think about how he responded after the Commanders game and what he said to the media on that Wednesday at his media availability, where he was like, guys, I don't flinch. And then he went off and had the Cowboys game, which I won't discredit there. I look at him as kind of prepare himself and be ready for that opportunity should it come again. How it will come, we don't know, but I don't look at Russell Wilson as being a guy that's going to force his way out of the building or be some sort of distraction. He'll speak later on today alongside with Jaxson Dart and Malik Neighbors. Two guys, those three will be the player media availabilities. But I did not think we'd be at this point right now at week 4. I said maybe week 6 to week 8. I was hoping that Russell Wilson would have a Sam Darnold-esque type season to where we wouldn't even have to see Jaxson Dart at any point this year, like we did, last year with the Vikings. Where were you when it came to when we were going to first see 6 out there?
There are people inside the Giants who wanted you and anyone to believe that Russell Wilson had this, master renaissance year capable of him, that he had a lot left in the tank, and it just never really added up because Pete Carroll gave up on him, Mike Tomlin gave up on him, and Sean Payton gave up on him, and those are 3 Hall of Fame head coaches. And if 3 Hall of Fame head coaches aren't trying to keep you in this league where quarterbacks are of the utmost value, then probably you didn't have that much left. And it was a rude awakening for the Giants that he didn't have much left. If the front office had the perfect say, they would have kept Jaxson Dart on the bench. I think the whole year they would have won enough games. The Patrick Mahomes plan would have been the way to go to develop Jaxson Dart. What people forget about the Patrick Mahomes plan is that Chiefs team went to the playoffs. So they had Alex Smith and they went to the play. They didn't keep him on the bench when they were 3-14. They kept him on the bench because they were 12-5 or 12-4 or whatever. So yeah, the Giants would have loved to go 12-4 and never play Jaxson Dart. That would have been ideal. The problem was that was never going to happen. They don't have a 12-4 team. So where was I? I think I was somewhere. I think I said week 7 was the most likely at one point. That was where I was early. I think they play the Eagles week 6 on a Thursday. Then you could have a long week to get Jaxson Dart ready in week 7. That's where I was. I also thought they were going to be 1-2, not 0-3. Once they were 0-3, I was thinking next week, week 5 against the Saints. But I'll say this, Brandon. I talked to people around the league yesterday, and I said, what's better? Week 4 in a probable loss against Jim Harbaugh and the undefeated Chargers, or a softer landing against the Saints in week 5. And somebody said, and a couple people around the league said, you can make an argument either way. But the thing about this is you start him here at home. Yep. You let it get his jitters, his first game mistakes out. You don't want to make those in a winnable game against the Saints. You let him watch, you let him play, you let him see everything for the first time, and he's more set up to succeed in the winnable game against the Saints. So you don't make those regrettable mistakes against the Saints and let another one get away.
Yeah, you also don't have to worry about fire Daboll or we want Jaxson Dart chants breaking out in the middle of the football game. So I understand that the crowd is getting what they want. The fan base is getting what they want. I just want everyone to kind of manage their expectations because like Brian Daboll said as well, it's going to take more than Jaxson Dart to win games and to beat the Chargers. But I'm thinking about this, and obviously as the Giants in-game MC, if he comes in and there's that flea flicker or they have something dialed up, let's say defense gets a turnover or forces some sort of stop, and he doesn't even have to throw the touchdown pass, he just leads that drive down the field, the place is going to go crazy. Yes. So I look at I would rather him start against the Saints, but I also understand going up against the Chargers defense that's like top 5 in a lot of the passing defense categories, that it could have got ugly on Sunday as well. So it's a hard decision to make for some, but Brian Daboll, this is that, like, you play spades, this is the big joker. Yeah. He's got to throw this big joker down. He's got to make his book to win some points and, as everyone's saying, maybe save his job. I want to ask you what two-part question, because I know you want to say something. What does Jaxson Dart have to do or look like to save both Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll's job, in your opinion?
So I think they're two separate things, right? Like, I don't think Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen are tied at the hip, okay? I don't think it saved their jobs. I think it's, but to answer your question, he just has to play well. And this goes to the point I was just about to make anyway, which is when the Giants lost the Cowboys game, every Giants fan was like, we lost the game, another gun punch loss, more last second fielder. If the Giants lost that exact game with Jaxson Dart, the outcome is secondary. It'd be like, look how good our young quarterback looks. Yeah. And that's what it's going to become. And that's what Brian Daboll has to be thinking. He's 1-13 in his last 14 games. He's 3-17 in his last 20 games. How does he take the pressure off of all the losses? Yeah. Well, the outcomes are now secondary. The number one thing that a Giants fan cares about, the number one thing that John Mara is going to care about, is how does the quarterback look? Is he promising? And now you're going to say, like, how is he going to look good and they lose? Well, the Giants find ways to lose. So, like, it's certainly possible Jaxson Dart throws for 240 yards, 2 touchdowns, runs for 60 yards, and they still lose. That's certainly possible. And then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, we lost another game, but our draft position's better. The season's over. We're not going to the playoffs, and Jaxson Dart looks promising. Like, that's the number one thing. So as long as he looks like he's on the trajectory to be great, he might save everybody's job. But I don't think, let's not forget, Pat Shurmur had a 9-game losing streak in 2019. He had a 41-point game, like his second or third to last game. Daniel Jones looked as good as he looked, again, until this season, and Pat Shurmur got fired. So I don't necessarily know that wins don't matter for Brian Daboll as much as I don't think they matter for Joe Schoen if Jaxson Dart's on an upward trajectory.
I hate the fact that we're talking about people's jobs and new QB1s at week 4. After all of the hype and the excitement of the offseason. But I guess that's NFL football, man. Close us off. Close us off.
Yeah, that's it. But again, I think there is a reason for Giants. Like I can tell you, at October every year, Giants fans are depressed. They're mock drafts. Why should I care about the rest of the season? I have so many friends who are like, I'm going apple picking on Sunday because I don't need to watch the game. This week, I have Giants friends who are like, no, I'm canceling my plans for the next couple Sundays. I'm watching the Giants, and that's what Jaxson Dart brings.
It's almost like when John Mara didn't trade Saquon because he wanted to kind of make sure that people still came to games for a star player. Hopefully Jaxson Dart can turn this thing around. We wish him the best. For Ryan Dunleavy, I'm Brandon London. Thanks for watching today's Blue Rush Practice Report.